Good evening and welcome to today's session for the subject strategies for sustainable design. As no learners have joined so far, I'll wait for some more time, see if anyone joins, and then I'll start the session. I think we can start the session today. So, welcome all to session 8 for week 8 for the subject Strategies for Sustainable Design. So, this is what has been covered in this week of lectures. So, the first lecture would have been on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So, all the goals for sustainable development, and another lecture on different methodologies or different tools or methods that we use uh, for designing products or services in a sustainable fashion. So, this lecture discusses about different tools like the SPSS or the Sustainable Product Service System, or MPDS, so a method for product design for sustainability, and even about distributed economies. So this is what has been covered this week, and we will solve some questions, some example questions related to that. So this is the first question for today, which is providing access for small scale artisanal fisheries to marine resources and market belongs to which UN SDG goal? And you have several options: goal 6, goal 14, goal 13, or goal 7. So first of all, from the question itself, or from what the question is talking about, you can again assess that the question is talking about marine ecosystems. So this must belong to SDG 14, which is life below water. So even from that you can understand, or if you still want to check that whether what this question is asking about, or what specific target the question is talking about, does that target belong to that particular SDG or not, you can go ahead and check the various various targets associated with each SDG, and then you can clarify whether the target that is mentioned in the question uh, is the target associated to that particular SDG or not. So I have given a link to the UN SDG's website, so you can access this link, and it will take you to the UN SDG's website, where there are all the goals and further the targets and indicators of each of those goals, and you can check from here whether the target that is mentioned in the question is related to the particular goal or not. So in this case, we are talking about providing access for small scale artisanal fisheries, and we are talking about goal 6, 14, 13, and 7. So most likely it is related to goal 14, which is life below water. And if you go to goal 14 and you go and see the different targets and indicators related to that goal, you can find here that you'll find all the various targets that are associated with that particular goal, and among that you can find whether the particular target that the question is asking about, whether it is talking about that particular goal or not. So you can see that target 14.b, which is providing access for small scale artisanal fisheries to marine resources and markets, it is a part of SDG 14, which is life below water. So I think it's clear that this particular target belongs to SDG 14. Moving to the next question. So the next question is, people are considered poor if they are living under what or how many dollars a day, and you have several options: $1.25, $1.5, $2, or $1. So this basically comes from SDG 1, which is no poverty, and specifically target 1.1 of the SDG, which is the target is to eradicate by 2030, to eradicate extreme poverty for all people everywhere. And how it defines extreme poverty is that they are currently measuring extreme poverty as people who are living on less than $1.25 a day. So that is how they are quantifying extreme poverty in this target, or for achievement of this particular target in SDG 1, and that is how they have defined. So again, this question is related to this same metric, which identifies uh, how, you distinguish between someone who is poor and someone who is not. So any person who is living or surviving under uh, uh, $1.25 a day, that person is considered as poor or to be living in extreme poverty. So I hope this is clear as well. Moving on to the next question, which is as per the United Nations report, what percentage of schools are not wheelchair accessible? And you have several options: 52%, 50%, 48%, or 61%. So you can come back to this graphic which was shown in your lectures. This graphic talks about the association of sustainable development goals with the objective of accessibility for person with disabilities. So whenever we talk about sustainability or sustainable development goals, we always talk about achievement of sustainability or SDGs in context with equity and inclusivity. So we always think of achieving SDGs while leaving no one behind. So ensuring that our actions or whatever initiatives that we take to achieve sustainability, it has a social context also, and we don't do it for only one section of the society or focusing on a larger section of the society, while we overlook the needs of other sections of the society which might not be as apparent to us. Okay, so that is what we talk about in this section when we associate accessibility or disability with achievement of sustainable development goals. So you can see three specific targets of the SDGs, which is target 4.A, that is building associated with building disability sensitive education facilities, 11.2 which is associated with providing accessible transport system, and 11.7 which is providing accessible public and green spaces, is all associated with providing better accessibility and ensuring that it is even accessible for people with disabilities. So this question is basically asking about that. And you can see here, this is taken from a report on uh, the progress that has been made towards achieving different sustainable development goals. So from one of those reports, you can see that around 52% of schools are still not wheelchair accessible. So they do not provide equal or equitable opportunities for education for the disabled people. So this question is basically referring to that, and again you can get the metric from here, that 52% of schools globally are still not wheelchair accessible. So this question is about that. But another thing which you can keep in mind according to this, that each of the target of the SDGs is constantly monitored, and there are annual reports published on to which level we have achieved certain targets or certain goals associated with the SDGs. Where do we stand, and what kind of acceleration or momentum is needed further towards achieving the particular SDGs. So, for example, you can see again this metric is related with with how we are performing in achieving the particular targets. So this is uh, from the UN SDGs progress or progress report and information for target 4.A. So the target 4.A is to build and upgrade education facilities that are child, disability and gender sensitive, and provide safe, non-violent, inclusive and effective learning environments for all. So a part of that metric itself is that uh, basic school infrastructure is far from universal, and according to the latest progress update, which is from 2020, still a quarter of primary schools globally do not have access even to the basic services like electricity, drinking water, and sanitation facilities. Additionally, also we have the metric that apart from the basic facilities like electricity, drinking water, and sanitation, computer facilities and disability adapted infrastructure, that is still substantially lower uh, compared to the basic services, and 50% of primary schools across the globe do not have, or around 50% of schools across the globe do not have access to these kinds of facilities like computer facilitation and disability uh, adapted infrastructure. So again, you can get this metric from here. So around 50%. So is schools don't have access. So you can get from there also that little over 50% of the schools uh, don't have access to such kind of infrastructure. So again, you can get the answer from there itself. Uh, Again, another target associated with accessibility is the target 11.2. So this target is that by 2030 we need to provide access to safe, affordable, accessible and sustainable transport systems for all, improving road safety, notably by expanding public transport with special attention to needs in vulnerable to the vulnerable populations, like to those like for women, children and people with disabilities, and for older people. So again, you can get metrics on progress of target 11.2 as well. So for example, as of 2022, nearly 1.1 billion people are living in slums or slum like sorry, I think I made a mistake and I wrote the progress on target 11.1 instead of 11.2, but I can show you where you can check this. So I have provided a link here for the UN SDGs. Again, it is the same link from where you can access the sustainable development goals. So if you go to goal 11 and you go to the progress and info, so here you can get the information about progress. So forgetting about 11.1, we can see that the progress info on target 11.2 is that from 1507 cities that were studied in 126 countries, only 51.6% of the world's urban population has convenient access to public transport with considerable variation across regions. So that means a lot of developed countries or countries with better, greater amount of resources, they have better access to public transport as compared to regions which are relatively less developed across the globe. So again, this is another kind of update or progress info related to the SDGs. Similarly, for target 11.7, which is by 2030, providing universal access to safe, inclusive, and accessible green and public spaces, in particular for women and children, older person, and people with disabilities. Again, you can get information about the progress about this target as well. So you can see for this target, the data for 2020 from these many cities in 120 countries indicate that more than 3/4 of these cities have less than 20% of their area dedicated to open public spaces and streets. And this is not entirely up to the benchmark or what is optimum, and it is about half of the proportion that is recommended to be as open and public spaces. Also, on an average, open public spaces account for a meager 3.2% of urban land, which is about 4 times less than the share of land in streets. So this is the information about the progress on target 11.7. So again, questions like these ask about or are asking about the progress on certain SDGs or targets associated with the SDGs, and you can get the information about various targets and the progress that has been made using the UN SDGs website and their informational updates. Another resource which you can consider for this is the UN SDGs report, which I have linked here. So uh, there is a Sustainable Development Goals report which is released every year. So for example, this is the report for 2022, and you can access this report as well, and for each goal or each indicator, you can further read in detail about what percentage of the SDG has been achieved, uh, which target has been achieved, or which target still there are significant gaps in achieving that target, and things like that. So if you further want to access more information about the achievement of SDGs and achievement of particular targets, you can access this report as well. Coming back, so the next question is, what is the total number of SDG indicators that needs to be fulfilled by 2030? And you have several options: 231, 230, 232, or 234. So basically, the UN SDGs were adopted by the UN member states in 2015 as part of their 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So, the purpose of this agenda was to set a target date of 2030 for achieving all of the sustainable development goals that were being discussed as the part of this agenda. So, the aim was to accomplish all the 17 goals that were discussed in this and all their associated targets by the year 2030. So all of the indicators or all of the targets that were a part of the UN SDGs, they should have been completed or they should be fulfilled by the year 2030. So that means all of the indicators or everything, all of the targets which are a part of the SDGs, all of them need to be achieved by 2030. So each goal, as you saw in the UN SDG website also, that each goal has a specific aspect of sustainable development, and each of that target or associated targets of that SDG has a set of indicators that are used to monitor the progress of that particular goal or of that particular target towards achieving that goal or towards achieving that target. So these indicators, they serve as a measurable benchmark essentially to assess whether or to what extent the countries are making progress in that particular area of sustainable development. So the indicator helps the governments or even the international organizations or other stakeholders to track the trends of what goals are being achieved, what targets are being achieved, and to identify gaps that which in which areas more efforts are needed, uh, and then accordingly prioritize action to accelerate progress towards those particular sustainable development goal or that particular target. So these are what the different indicators are. So you might remember this graphic from your lectures that all in all we have 232 SDG indicators uh, from each goal and then each target of that goal and then indicator for each target. If you combine them all in all we have 232 SDG indicators. And as for the 2030 agenda, all of the goals are to be fulfilled by the year 2030. So essentially all of these 232 SDG indicators also need to be fulfilled or to be achieved by the year 2030. So essentially that is the correct answer to this question, that there are 232 total indicators of the SDGs which need to be fulfilled by the year 2030. So I hope this is clear. Moving on to the next question, which is which SDG is not part of education, gender and inequality as per the principles of leaving no one behind? And you have several options: goal 1, 5, 6 and 10. So in the lectures you discussed about 6 SDG transformations that have been underpinned by the principles of leaving no one behind and principles of circularity and principle of decoupling. So these are three essential principles which form a central part of sustainable design or how you design things sustainably. So these are three key aspects which guide our methods or our processes for a sustainable design. One of them is leaving no one behind. So what this concept basically is that it emphasizes on the importance of ensuring that progress towards sustainable development is inclusive and equitable, that no individual person with their specific needs or no group with their own kind of separate needs than the regular population, none of them are left behind while we make progress towards sustainable development. So this thinking acknowledges that there are several marginalized and vulnerable groups or population like women, children, people with disabilities, indigenous populations, refugees, migrants, which exist, and these groups often face barriers in achieving sustainability or in achieving sustainable development or growth, which are disproportionate as compared to the other people or other regular population. And these barriers even appear or present themselves in accessing even basic services, resources and opportunities. So this leaving no one behind strategy, it requires targeted efforts to target the specific needs and challenges of these kind of populations, so that we can ensure that the development or sustainable development interventions are made or developed in such a way that it doesn't reach only the regular population, but it also reaches the people who are most in need, like the marginalized people or the vulnerable population. So this strategy entails on disaggregating data to identify the disparities and inequalities that exist among various people and among various populations, and then using this the inferences from this data to design different kinds of policies and programs that promotes social inclusion, that promotes inclusion of these kind of peoples in sustainable development, and focuses on reducing inequality and empowering the marginalized group to then further work towards their own development and sustainability. So this is the concept of leaving no one behind. The second concept, which is central to sustainable design, is circularity. So circularity is the concept of transitioning from a linear economic model where you take uh, natural resources and you use those natural resources to build or make a product. You use the product, and at the end of the life cycle, the product is discarded, and the discarded material is can then again not be used for anything else. So this is the linear economic model. So circularity refers to the concept which wants to transition from this linear economic model uh, where resources are extracted, used, and disposed of, to a circular economy or a circular economic model where resources, even after the end of the use of that particular product, are then reused in other ways. Maybe the materials are recycled for to act as raw materials for another product, and even we use natural resources uh, in a way that they have enough time to get regenerated in order to minimize waste and maximize resource efficiency. So, in the context of SDGs, circularity is closely linked with sustainable consumption and production, and it also is again linked to decoupling also. So, it again aims to decouple economic growth from resource consumption and environmental degradation. So, circular practices include designing products for durability and also so that they can be recycled, so for their recyclability, and focuses on promoting the sharing and reuse of resources, implementing waste reduction and recycling initiatives, and also adopting more renewable energy resources and reducing the use of non-renewable resources, or so that the amount of non-renewable resources we are using, uh, they get enough time to regenerate, or we use them at a rate that the non-renewable energy resources have enough time to regenerate and we are not exhausting them. Also, by embracing circularity, countries and businesses can reduce their environmental footprint as well, and they can enhance resource security and contribute to the achievement of various SDGs, uh, including those that are related to climate action, biodiversity conservation, and for sustainable cities and communities. So again, even this focuses on like leaving no one behind. Even circularity is not associated to just one SDG, but is associated with multiple SDGs. Uh, Similarly, decoupling. So, decoupling refers to the process of breaking the traditional link between economic growth and environmental degradation uh, by trying to achieve economic prosperity without corresponding increases in resource consumption, pollution, and greenhouse gas emission. So, historically, what we have seen that the countries who have achieved the most economic growth, they have also caused the most environmental degradation. They have been the most or the highest producer of greenhouse gas emissions and pollution. So essentially, what decoupling suggests, or what this methodology of sustainable design suggests, is that we should try to de-link economic growth and environmental degradation and try to achieve economic growth in a way that it doesn't promote or further resource consumption and emissions and pollution. So it involves decoupling the environmental impacts of production and consumption from economic output, thereby enabling sustainable development that preserves natural resources and ecosystems for future generations. So the decoupling strategies, they include things like improving resource efficiency, investing in clean and renewable technologies, and adopting sustainable consumption and production patterns, and also implementing different policies and regulations that again promote green growth and innovation. So again, decoupling is another key thing which is considered essential for achieving environmental objectives for the SDGs, particularly those related to climate action, responsible consumption and production, and conservation of ecosystems. So again, you can see in the case of decoupling also, it is not associated to only one SDG but multiple SDGs. So you might have seen a similar kind of table or graphic which shows you that what each aspect of uh, leaving no one behind, circularity, and decoupling is actually which SDGs are related to these aspects. So you can see leaving no one behind consists of education, gender, and inequality, and these are the SDGs associated with it. So SDG 1, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 17 are the SDGs which are associated with education, gender, and inequality. So coming back to our question, which is asking that which SDG is not a part of education, gender, and inequality as per the principles of leaving no one behind. So you can see that goal 6 is not a part of this SDG or is not closely related to education, gender, and inequality. So I hope this is clear. Uh, Again, you need to focus on that thing that different aspects of sustainable design are associated to multiple SDGs, not only one SDG. And you can come back to this table of what aspects are associated with which kind of SDGs, and you can come back to these concepts of trying to understand that what the concept is talking about, and then you can try to associate the particular SDG with the concept or the particular target we are talking about. So again, seeing that education, gender, and equality and are associated with these particular SDGs, you can clearly see that goal 6 is the goal which is not closely associated to this section of leaving no one behind. So I hope that was clear. Moving on to the next question. So our next question is, as per the UN's comparative assessment of government strategies and policy actions for climate mitigation, USA and Russia falls under which category? You have several options: insufficient, critically insufficient, role model, or compatible, which is compatible to 2 degrees Celsius rise. So you actually need to follow this graphic which shows the comparative assessment of various government strategies and policy actions. So this is a graphic which actually shows that according to the various strategies and policy actions that the governments of the countries are taking, uh, whether the strategies or policy actions are sufficient, or if they are compatible with our goal of limiting uh, the atmospheric temperature rise to only 2 degrees Celsius, or to 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is what we decided in the Paris Agreement, or if it is insufficient or critically insufficient, and so on. So you can see various countries like the USA, Russia, uh, and some countries in the Middle East, they are critically insufficient, or their policy actions are render them critically insufficient for climate mitigation action. Then there are countries which are highly insufficient, like Canada and China. Then there are countries which are insufficient but not so much, like the Mexico, Australia, New Zealand. Then there are countries which are 2 degrees Celsius compatible. So their policy actions make them compatible to limit the temperature rise, or the atmospheric temperature rise, to only 2 degrees Celsius. So India is one of those countries. And then there are countries which whose policy also make them compatible with 1.5 degrees Celsius. However, there are no countries who act as a role model, or who are following policy actions and strategies which render them, or which make uh, their emissions or environmental impact so low that they can help achieve the target of 1.5 degrees Celsius or even lower. So this is what this graph is showing. So our question asks us about in which category the USA and Russia falls in. So you can see the USA and Russia, they fall in the category of critically insufficient. So that is the answer to this question, critically insufficient. So I hope that is clear. Just give me one moment. Okay, coming back. So our next question is, as per the SPSS offer, what is the equivalent of product from traditional product sale? And you have options: interaction of actors, satisfaction unit, access, or none of the above. So SPSS, or Sustainable Product Service System, is basically a design or a model according to which we create, instead of a product, we create an innovative approach to product delivery and consumption, aiming to minimize the environmental impact and resource use associated to that product, while we try to maximize the value of the product to the user. So how we do that? We try to integrate both the product and the service associated with the product into a single package or into a single system, and we try to provide the user with access to the functionality and the benefit of the product without necessarily owning the product, but again, peripheral, as a peripheral, providing certain services associated with that particular product, which can then help increase the value, or increase the usability, or the benefit that the user is getting from that product. So this model basically promotes sustainability by encouraging resource efficiency, reducing waste, and fostering a shift towards more sustainable consumption pattern. So this is a graphic which basically tells you how this sustainable product service system works. So you create a product, and you distribute. During the production also, you try to control and associate the production in sync with other stages of the usage and disposal and reproduction of the product. So if you are getting materials or recycled materials or some components from the use and disposal part of disposal stage of the product, you are again trying to use that in the production stage. Then after production, you are trying to minimize the environmental impact during the transportation, packaging and storage stage also. So in the distribution phase of the product, uh, in the product's economic life cycle, you again are trying to minimize the environmental impact. Then during the use, service and reuse of the product, so during the usage stage, you are again trying to provide services which encourages the reuse of the product. So maybe like retrofitting services or repair services or things like that, so that you are encouraging the use and reuse of the same product again and again during its use cycle or its use stage. Then when the product comes to its disposal stage, you are again providing the company itself or uh, a peripheral company which is associated with that particular service is with that particular product is providing services for incinerating, composting or recycling or managing the solid waste management in more what you can say in a more systematic way, that it is properly disposed of to a landfill instead of landing into ocean systems or water systems. Again, it is disposed of in a better way. So with the product, you are providing a peripheral service associated with the disposal of the product. So you can again get materials from recycling or composting or incineration. So from incineration you can get energy, and then you can get raw materials from recycling and composting, which then get collected, and they can then either be used for a different product, and different services can be provided for that product's life cycle, or it can go back into the production of the same product itself. Then it can go back into reuse or remanufacturing, or from composting to production of a new product. Then there is also a stage of reproduction, so using components or material or something from the old product, you can reproduce or remanufacture the same product over and over again. So this is the cycle or the sustainable product and service system which this is talking about, that you focus on not only the product but even the peripheral services associated with the use, reuse, repair, recycling, disposal of the particular product, so that the value that the customer is getting from this product is maximized. You focus on reduced material consumption or reduced consumption of natural resources, reduced energy consumption, and then focus on using renewable resources or biocompatibility and other things like that for the entire life cycle of the product, instead of just during the production stage or during the distribution stage or during the use stage. So this is what this sustainable product service system is, or the SPSS is. So instead of measuring like we measure in a normal economic system, we measure the sale unit as a product. In this system, we don't measure the sale unit as a product, but we measure it as satisfaction unit. So you can see here the sale unit instead of a product is satisfaction unit. So that is what this question is asking, that as per the SPSS offer, what is the equivalent of product compared to the traditional product sale. So satisfaction unit is the correct answer. And again, for other things also, like from traditional product sale, instead of selling a traditional product, this system devises products or product service offers for sale. Instead of a traditional product, it devises sustainable product services system offer instead of just a product. And instead of using just technology as an innovation, it again leverages interaction of various actors. So a person or peripheral agency which is associated with solid waste management, someone which is associated with recycling, someone associated with composting, then discussing sustainable energy options for production, even associating with uh, more cost effective and more sustainable methods of distribution, things like that. So it focuses not only the kind of technology we use, it focuses on interacting with various actors which are associated in this service provision system also, so that all of this can be integrated with the product and the service provision. And the customer value that it gets, that instead of individual ownership of the product or how it is going to be reused or recycled or everything, the customer gets access to the product, and then the value of the product that the customer is getting is maximized, and again the value is shared through either recycling or reuse, or by reusing the end products or some components of the product for different kind of uses. So this is what the sustainable product service system is. And instead of product in the traditional sense of production, we measure uh, we measure uh, the equivalent of product as a satisfaction unit in case of NSPSS. So I hope this is clear. Moving on to the next question, which is which of the following is not an example of distributed energy generation? And you have options: home-based solar power mini grid, centralized coal power plant, micro hydro system, or all of the above. So basically, this is the traditional or general system for production and distribution of any kind of energy, or largely electrical energy. So there is usually a centralized generation plant or a centralized generation facility where electricity is generated. It can be various kind of power plants like coal power plant. There are centralized large scale hydropower plants also. And after generation, then it is transmitted uh, uh, using transmission grids. Uh, and these transmission lines carry high voltages of electricity over long distances from the generation plant to where the electricity is needed. And through the transmission systems, it then reaches to a substation from where it is distributed uh, to the end user. So it can be an industry, or it can be even for individual or residential or commercial uses. So this is basically how uh, power or energy distribution system works. So coal power plant is a centralized or a centralized coal power plant is not an example of distributed energy generation, because again it is centralized. So there is a central area where the production of electricity is done, and it follows a traditional model of energy production where the electricity is generated in a single large facility, and then after the production of electricity, it is then distributed through a power grid to the consumer. So basically coal power plant is an example of a centralized, not a decentralized, but a centralized traditional energy production model where production takes place in a single large facility, and then it is transmitted to long distances through power grids. So, in contrast to this, distributed energy generation refers to production of electricity from smaller scale or decentralized sources that are located closer to the point of consumption. So, in case of decentralized systems, where the energy is being produced and where the energy is being consumed, the distance between these two places is usually very less. Again, another key difference is that the energy production doesn't take place in a large facility on a large scale, but in smaller scales as compared to central electricity generation systems. So, a micro hydropower plant, we discussed this in an earlier session as well, that it is one of the most simple and consistent form of renewable energy and a micro scale or decentralized type of renewable energy system. So micro hydropower plants usually generate up to 100 kilowatts of electricity, which is again a small quantity of electricity. It's not enough to sustain uh, large cities or large settlements. Only maybe a particular home or a small farm or a small resort or some kind of that thing. And you can again see uh, that the alternator or the generator is usually very close to where the electricity is being transported to. It is not very far away from the production is not taking place very far away from where the electricity is going, and it is taking place in small chunks. So production is small, it is not a huge scale production. So again, micro hydropower plants are or hydropower systems are example of decentralized energy systems. Again, another example is the home-based solar power microgrid. So again, you can see the energy production is taking place very close to where the energy will be used, and again, the amount of energy that is being produced is only enough to sustain either an enterprise or to sustain uh, domestic use, and it's not enough to be transmitted to large populations. So again, even home-based solar microgrids are examples of uh, decentralized energy system, as they try to empower individual homeowners to generate and consume and manage their electricity locally instead of getting electricity distributed from very far away centralized energy production systems. So I think it is clear that both micro hydro system and home-based solar power mini grids are examples of distributed energy generation systems. However, a centralized coal power plant is not an example of this kind of distributed energy generation system. So I hope that is clear. Moving on to the next question, which is the M Power Company offers a solar home system or SHS to the people of which country? And you have options: Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and Egypt. So the Empower Company, it offers to Tanzania's rural people a solar home system, which includes the hardware to generate the solar energy and the energy using products. So the products which can use the energy that is being generated by this kind of solar home system. So why this is important, or why this kind of example is important? So this basically, I think, was a kind of case study or case example of uh, sustainable decentralized systems of energy production, and it is important to understand that how in practice you can actually use or you can develop models which can make these kind of sustainable decentralized energy sources accessible to populations who are not so uh, uh, economically developed that they can either develop or afford these kind of solutions on their own. So basically, Empower, which is this company, it uses fee for use or F for U kind of a business model. And under this model, the customer does not buy the standalone system. So many a times the people cannot afford such kind of a decentralized energy production system. So to make it more accessible, the companies uses this fee for use business model where the customer doesn't buy the standalone system but only rents it out from the company to use it. So the company retains the ownership of the system and ensures that the system is operating properly, and the company itself is responsible for the maintenance of the system, and the customer who is using the solar home system is the person makes a one-time installation payment and recurring fixed payments based on the size of the system. So the customer pays uh, periodical uh, installments or periodical rent for using the particular solar home system, and thus can get access to a decentralized system of energy instead of seeking energy from a large scale centralized system. So this question is from one such case study of how decentralized energy systems can be made more useful or more accessible to people who are in a greater need, like the people in rural Tanzania. So I hope this is clear. Uh, this is the last question for today, and this question is that as per the facilitate end of life collection and transportation, which brand of water bottle is an example under design for the compressibility of discarded products? So this question is basically talking about product design for water bottles, and it's talking about the component or the factor of compressibility of the water bottles, and um it is asking that which company among the options have focused on the factor of compressibility to better facilitate the end of life collection and transportation of the bottles after uh, uh, the bottle is discarded after its use. And Himalaya, Evian, Smart Water, and Fiji are the four options. So this is essentially talking about the Evian's bottle design. So Evian designed their bottles in such a way so that after the bottles are discarded, they can be easily compressed in a smaller volume. So it is easier and optimal for the recycler to collect the discarded water bottles and take it to the facility where it is recycled. So the company decided that they will reduce the weight of the bottle by 11% compared to its earlier design, and the bottle will again contain 25% recycled PET instead of using PET raw material. The company decided that 25% of the material that they are using would be recycled, not uh, raw material straight from the natural resources. And again, they decided that they'll increase this ratio to 50% during their course of production. And also that they decided that for easier compacting, they designed their bottle in a way that it takes less space in the bin, and also encourages people to recycle the product, and it further encourages even the recycling companies to recycle the bottle. For this, they made the caps and labels everything from PET. So all the components of the bottle are made from PET, not different kinds of plastic, as we saw in an earlier session also, that even plastics are of different kind, and each kind of plastic takes a different kind of mechanical or chemical process to recycle the particular plastic. So the company made even the bottle's body, caps and label, everything from PET, which is the same material, uh, in order to make 100% of the product, which is their bottle, recyclable, and simplifying the recycling process for the company instead of using different kinds of products for different kinds of material for the label and cap, which will make the recycling process more difficult, and probably not the 100% of the product will be recyclable. So these are various design decisions that the company made in production of their bottled water, or the bottle for the bottled water, which made the decomposition and recycling of the bottle easier. So this is again another example of how you can design your products to encourage recycling and sustainability. So I hope this is clear. I have added another link. If you want further information about the EVN PET bottle design, you can go ahead and click onto this link and read further. So this was the last question for today. But in the last session, someone asked me to suggest some softwares for microclimate simulations and simulations for energy efficiency. So I have come back with some suggestions of some softwares which you can use if you want to learn and create simulations for microclimate studies or energy efficiency studies. So NVMet is the kind of the most popular and most used software for creating microclimate simulations. Sorry. So NVMet is a microclimate simulation software, and it is mostly used for outdoor environments, not for indoor environments, but outdoor environments. But you can use it for high resolution simulations, and it's usually used for urban microclimate studies, green infrastructure planning, and even for thermal comfort assessment in an outdoor environment. Then you also have Urban Sim. So Urban Sim is also widely used for simulating urban microclimates like NVMet. And additionally, what there is different from NVMet, that it allows the user to model other aspects of the urban environment in the model also, like land use, transportation, and environmental factors like temperature and air quality. Then you have Solveig, or the solar and long wave environmental irradiance geometry. It is also a software tool which is specifically designed for simulating solar radiation and thermal environments and outdoor spaces. So it's commonly used for assessing thermal comfort in urban environments, and for assessing whether the design interventions you are making, whether they are impactful or not, or what kind of impact they are having on the microclimate. Also, we have WRF, Weather Research and Forecasting Model. Although it is not usually used for microclimates, it is largely used for atmospheric modeling system design, for weather forecasting and similar research. And it is usually used for larger scale atmospheric simulation, and it works better for larger scale atmospheric simulations. But it can also be used or can be adapted for microclimate studies if you do appropriate parameterization and domain configuration. So these are some popularly used softwares for microclimate simulations. And then these are the softwares which are popularly used for energy efficiency analysis. So you have design builder. So it is a tool which can be integrated with different BIM tools like Revit and SketchUps. Uh, Revit and SketchUp. It allows the architect to assess energy performance of buildings. So uh, you can even assess indoor energy performance by simulating factors like heating, cooling, lighting, if you have integrated certain renewable energy systems, etc. It offers detailed energy analysis feature and also supports integration of various efficiency standard and certification. So you can even integrate certain modules from these energy certification systems to then further analyze whether your building or interventions that you have planned, whether they are working in accordance to the particular standard or certification or not. You also then have Energy Plus. Although it requires expertise and it's not very user friendly. Many other systems like Open Studio and Design Builder, these integrate Energy Plus into their software platform, and using these kind of interfaces, you can then use Energy Plus to analyze energy performance of the buildings that you're trying to study. Also, there is IES virtual environments, and it is used for uh, uh, analyzing building performance, and it includes module for energy analysis, daylighting simulation, and thermal comfort assessment. You can get detailed insight of building energy usage, and you can use it to explore various design options in your building design to improve energy efficiency and sustainability. So these are some softwares for energy efficiency analysis. Uh, so this is all for today. If you have any further doubts, please go ahead and ask. Also, I wanted to share this with you. If you saw on the forum, uh, the question that all of you had, whether the exam would be subjective type or objective type, the associated TA has answered that the final exam is going to be objective type only. So I remember that many of you had this doubt, and someone asked on the forum, and the associated TA has answered that the exam is not going to be subjective. It is going to be objective type only. So I hope this is clear and everyone is aware of this. Okay, if you have any further doubts, please go ahead and ask.
I have a doubt on assignment 7. The question number mostly 5, that we got a message that the evaluations of answer is changed regarding the part number of part in volume 1 for NBC 2016.
Okay.
So can you go through the
Yes.
assignment 7?
Okay. So I'll show you the query also so that it is more clear. So this was the query that had been put up. So someone asked that the NBC consists of total 7 parts because they included part 0, 1, 2, uh, to 6. So if you count from 0 to 6, it is actually 7 parts instead of being 6 parts. So the
Okay.
correct answer was changed from having 6 parts to 7 parts. So that is what the change that has been made in the question. So I hope that is clear.
Okay.
Any other doubts?
And the question number 9.
9.
Yeah. HVAC system and have been CFC and HFC free, which is come under, there is option is low ODP or GWP material, that is comes under energy optimizations, but answer is a low ODP. Can you go to the
Okay,
question?
let me check. Okay, insulation. Okay. Insulation used in the building envelope for HVAC system have to be CFC and HCFC free. Is a part of energy optimization section of Griha belonging to which criteria? And the answer is low ODP and GWP material. Okay. So what is
It's
your
saying
score?
under the energy optimizations, right?
Hmm.
Okay, then it is okay.
Okay.
Okay, it is under the energy optimization. Now it's okay.
Okay. Uh, anyone has any other doubts?
The assignments that we are submitting, how do we know what grades are we getting on that?
Like you see here, if you can see my page, uh, it was due on this time and I did not submit. Okay, so my score is 0. It says here. Can you see? My score in
Yeah.
this question is 0. If I had submitted the answer, I would get a score here. So if you are
So
submitting
all
your answer,
those
mm-hmm.
all those assignments that I've submitted, if I go back, that means to say that I'll be getting the score there itself. I've not seen backwards as such.
Yes,
Once I've submitted, not gone.
right now you will get the score there itself. You can see
All
the
right.
score there. At the end,
Uh,
when you get your mark sheet, in your mark sheet, your total score will be displayed. But right now, you can see the score in the Swayam portal itself. You just go to the week's quiz, and there itself, your score will be displayed.
all right. I never tried to check it up. Anyway, thank you so much. Mhm.
Uh, anyone else has any other questions? Okay, Bhagyashree has no questions. Payal and I see Namul have. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask.
Yeah, Nikita. One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, this complete courseware is very interesting, right? But the thing is, we are working also, and how is it that is there any compact handout or something? Right, there's a video. This is all video. Going back, each video is sometimes at least for an hour. Right, there are others half an hour.
So if you see again here at the end of this thing here, you have text transcripts and you can get English transcripts of all the texts. So you can download here and so basically whatever is being said in the lectures, all of that has been transcribed and made into text PDF. So you get image of the slide that is being discussed and whatever is being discussed in the slide that is written in textual format in these PDFs. So you can just refer to these PDFs if you are unable to access the video somehow.
All right, thank you. This is also helpful. I hope so. Yeah. And one more thing, like I was wondering, 27th April is the date of exam.
Yes.
I have given a center anticipating that I'd be at that place on that day. What if it is like I'm unable to make it to that place, or I'm want to give it at my current place itself? Is like I'll have clarity right at that time, maybe a week or two prior. I'll know whether I'll be traveling there or.
You will probably know a week or two prior. Your exam, what do you call it? Uh, kind of, you'll get a location and a kind of document which tells you that where your exam center is and that you have to attend that particular exam. So kind of a document, and in that itself, they'll tell you that you
Yeah.
can call it like an admit card. So you'll get an admit card, and in that itself, they'll tell you where your exam location is. And I think you'll get it few weeks before your final exam is scheduled.
Yeah, my only
Anyway, wherever you have selected the location, you can make travel arrangements for there.
yeah, my only this thing was just in case we are unable to make it to that place and we want to have a change of location.
I don't think that a change of location at this stage is permissible. You would have registered for the exam, and I think you might have selected your location at that time only. If you still want to ask for a change of location, you can write to NPTEL themselves. So you might be getting emails, and in those emails, they must have referred to, or they must have referred an email to which you can contact if you have any queries regarding examinations or exam centers. So you can write an email and check with them. But I don't think that at this point you can change your exam center.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you. I'm good. Anybody else has got that? They need to
Okay.
tell me, please.
So if we don't have any further questions for today, I think we can close the session for today. Thank you all for attending today's session, and I'll see you in the next session next Tuesday, again 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, good day, Nikita. Bye.